Good morning from Dresden, Germany. Our trip here has been a blessing. Look forward to telling you much more about it. But just want to have a short time of Friday Faith fill up this morning. The culture here is really interesting. There's a lot of things that stand out. Again, I could go on and on, but just one thing that we've noticed is how much beer is just a part of their life. And something we were talking about last night and getting their understanding of it, they look at it as food, that it's something you have to have. They call it liquid bread because of the grains and all of the things that are in it. And in a sense, what they do in all of that is just justify themselves. Even when you deal with Christians, they're trying to justify it. And I was reading in Romans chapter 1, and I believe it's verse number 21, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Consider how many times we can see this in a society like that, where they're trying to justify everything that they're doing. They think that they're smart, they think that they're wise, but really it is foolishness. But really, in the personal application, how does that fit into our lives? Well, we really do the same thing. We try and justify things. We can make up all kinds of excuses and talk about why we do it the way that we do it. And ultimately, what it leads to is the same thing that we find in Romans chapter 1. It leads to apostasy. Why is that? Well, another illustration of something that we saw here is people have their own idea of truth, just like they do in the States. There's the thinking that you can't really know truth, much like Pilate said, "What is truth?" So there's that rejection of what truth is, and that you could even know what truth is. So ultimately, you end up at the place to where you've got to come up with your own truth. Well, again, that takes you down that road to apostasy. But it all really starts in the fact that they thought themselves to be wise, professing themselves to be wise. The verse says. But in that, they became fools. They didn't really see what truth was. We've got to be careful that we don't even use society, we don't use those around us to help us to understand what is true, or could we say what is wise. But instead, we just seek the Word of God. What does the Bible say? And let's just stand on that. Forget about the way that we want to justify our sin, but let's stand on truth and be thankful that we have the Word of God that we can look at, we can read it, we can understand it, and it gives us ultimately the truth that we need. And then just take it, just accept it, even though it's contrary maybe to what we want, might be contrary to how we feel, or what our desires are. But ultimately, we've got to get to the place to where the Bible is king in our life, and we understand that's where the wisdom comes from. That's where you draw close to God and understand His word. It's applied to us, and we're changed because of that. Well, I hope this is a blessing to you. We won't see you on Sunday morning, but we'll be certainly missing everyone and praying for the services there. We'll talk to you soon.